Hi there, I'm Emma.
I'm Moira.
And we're what she said. Look, we swore we wouldn't do this, yet here we are. 3 episodes late to the drama-filled, betrayal-infested, slightly cringy reality TV show, Season 3 of Love Triangle. So, if you've been craving chaotic love stories, spicy confrontations, and of course some wildly unsolicited advice, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the No Frills podcast, the show that has to sing its own shitty jingles. What she said covers Love Triangle. You're welcome, people.
Very cringe. Very cringe. But I did enjoy it.
Thank you.
Listen, we finished maths and we were left wondering what now? What else are we going to talk about? What else can we possibly gossip or bitch about? Now, the fact that you just said this was season 3 of Love Triangle and I had never heard of the show ever in my life. This is like maths all over again. Yeah. I had heard of maths, but I'd never watched it. So I had no idea what I was in for.
Boy, do I have some bombs for you then.
Dear God, this is worse than maths. If you thought maths was a treat, was the present that just kept on giving, holy moly. This is just dropping bomb central. Ooh,
look, I have some spoiler alerts for anyone out there that hasn't watched Love Triangle.
For those people who have no idea, like myself, what Love Triangle is, it's produced by the same company who did Maths, and there is one single, and they chat with 2 potential suitors that are put to them. They don't get to choose them. They get a phone with 2 people that they talk to over a text message, and the single person decides which one they're going to go on a date with, and regardless of how that date goes, they move in together for a few weeks.
Yeah, and this is the spoiler alert. It's not just 2. The third person comes regardless. Love Triangle.
Oh, yes. Yes, so spoiler alert. At the end of episode 3, we find out that the person that they chose not to go on a date with and rejected shows up to live with them.
But in some cases, it might be a blessing.
Yes, I can imagine so, considering what we've seen.
So our first person was Bernie. He's a 27-year-old man from Portugal, and he lives in Melbourne.
He's a DJ, and he does the odd painting, and he has gotten into TikTok content creation.
What did you think of him? Not a bad-looking guy.
Listen, I watched the first 10 minutes of the show, which was Mike and Bernie. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I actually stopped watching.
You have to.
I know. I stopped watching and I was just like, I wonder if I can get away with not watching it and going, no, we're not doing this. And then
I know, I actually did. I did receive a text message.
Yes, it was 2 emojis. One was crying and one put me out of my misery. Yeah. I really struggled because I was just like, oh, Jesus, not this shit. He didn't sell it for me. Like, I really don't think that Mike was the show pony that they should have run that race with. And I think Bernie was not the first person that they should have started this series with. No. He was not at all entertaining.
So he was matched with Jazmine, a 30-year-old lady from Melbourne. Yeah. So all the singles had to write an initial text, and Bernie chose, "What's your dream Saturday?" Apparently Jazmine had a few spelling typos. So
Bernie didn't enjoy Bernie, but I did appreciate his intolerance for the way people spell incorrectly, like your.
Yes, to be fair, Jazmine could just have fat fingers like me and type the wrong words, and autocorrect never fixes it.
It does fix it and turns it into duck. That one it does do. Or shot. Bernie found her text messages boring. He didn't find the conversation interesting.
And Marissa, a 30-year-old Texan who lives in Sydney.
Marissa, he found her text very cheeky and flirty and a little bit spicy, which I would agree. She says that she loves to party and she is looking for a kind and fit guy. Interestingly enough, she says that she thinks tongue is appropriate on a first date.
Well, that's not where I was going. I was not going there.
Where are you going?
I was going to say she dropped the mum bomb first date.
She did. So in the end, Bernie doesn't choose Jazmine. He chooses Marissa. And so he messages her to go out on a blind date. And on that blind date, she tells him that she's a mum. And he said that normally that would be it done for him, that he would just normally walk away from that, but he'll give it a chance because obviously what he's been doing isn't working.
But and
So
probably because that's the goal of the show, right?
yes, but people on Love Triangle would have watched the maths where Elliot just
Yeah.
walks out and people just make their own rules, and so Love Triangle for the
Mm.
next year might just make their own rules.
Yeah. I don't think these guys are in the know-how
No,
yet.
they
I think
wouldn't have
they're still
seen
playing by the
maths.
rules.
And then, so obviously, they've had their date, and the next thing that they do is move in together. So Marissa and Bernie move into this place, and he starts to mock her American accent and the way she says words. As someone
Mm.
who has had people mock the way I say things, it's fucking irritating.
Oh, it's fucking irritating.
It is.
No, look, I think her accent is cute. So I actually like the American accent,
I don't
Shut
think
up,
there's
Bernie.
an accent that's offensive.
No, I don't either. And he's got an accent as well. He's
Yeah.
Portuguese, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I know. So he's one to talk. But then she pulls him aside and is like, that's not cool. Like, I don't like it. And he apologizes. But then he tells the camera that he has the ick from that conversation because she pulled him
Mm.
up on it. And now he thinks she's being too serious and he can't be fun. Fuck my
Yeah,
life, you 27-year-old
I know.
child.
He is not ready for anything serious.
It looks like that because Gail got that text message. The phone's dinged and was like, you're going to a couple's party. Sybil Shine does not put on a good party.
No.
If maths is anything to go by.
It was a bit sad.
It was shit. Is that what you mean by sad?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was shit.
Yeah, it was shit. Like, where's the beats? Where's the fun? Everyone's sitting
I know.
around. Anyway, it turns out that Bernie's into Chloe, who is one of our other contestants.
Bernie was so distracted by her, and he said to the camera, let me be a suitor for her. I'd fight tooth, nail, and fucking hair for her. He had passion. He was staring, completely infatuated straight away. Wonder if she felt the same.
Yeah, interesting.
That'll be interesting to see what unfolds.
Absolutely. But I wonder if
Yeah.
that is him going, mums aren't really my thing. I feel like he was already checked out when he heard that she was a mum. He was like, nope, not to a 9-year-old.
And then we come to Michael, 50-year-old from the Gold Coast. Well, actually, for everyone out there, Mike is season 6 bad boy from maths. Quite controversial. According to Mike, he has quite a following.
I think Mike thinks a lot of himself.
Yeah, he is a bit on himself.
He loves himself a bit of reality TV, doesn't he? Yeah. I feel like that was how he introduced himself. Hi, and you might remember me from such shows as maths.
I think they probably told him to say that because I've looked at who's on here.
Yeah.
And he appears to be the only one thus far. And let me give you a spoiler alert. Do you want me to just dump it now?
If you tell me Sierra's on this fucking show.
Sierra is not on this show.
Thank God.
So it is another maths star, but it's from season 8.
I don't care who they are.
Now,
I don't know who they are. If they're not in season 12, I have no idea who they are.
So we will meet Ari soon. And one of Ari's matches is Am. So I've compared a photo from Maths season 8 of Sam to the guy that is walking away like a queen. It's Sam. Maths has done it again.
I have no idea who that is. But anyway. To be continued. Yes. So 50-year-old Mike, who lives on the Gold Coast, has been given these 2 options. One is Melinda, one is Melissa. Could they not find another letter of the alphabet? Clearly not. Melinda is 41 and from Wollongong. She is looking for someone who matches her energy. Now, this must be a fucking trend at the moment because that is literally all I heard throughout this whole series. Match my energy. But how about no? Unless the energy is sitting in front of the couch with like snacks and a movie, that's my energy. Match it. He thought that Melinda was funny and has got confidence and has good energy. Melissa is 40 from Sydney. She had short and to the point texts. She lives at home with her parents, which threw a curveball, as Mike would put it. And he's not sure about that, but says that there is some people who enjoy that community feel and aspect of being around people and family.
Look, I'm with Mike. Fucking alarm bells, run.
If you're 40 and still living at home.
If you're 40 and still living at home, see you
hold
later.
Hold on. If you're 40 and still living at home but have a bank account with like $500,000 in it, I mean, that's okay. If your broke ass is living at home with your parents still at 40, you haven't moved out and moved back in again, then there is some issues there. Obviously, he chooses Melinda because he doesn't want to date someone who's been living at home. And he's probably thinking, if we get together, then she's going to move the whole family in. That's probably what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Mike asks Melinda in a text message, do you have any hobbies? To which she replies, that her New Year's resolution is to crush watermelon with her thighs. Mike says, "Oh dear God, I just hope she's not a huge muscly woman." I think
Nothing wrong with huge muscling women.
I think he was a little bit intimidated.
Yeah, well, he's not the biggest guy. And I Googled some videos of watermelon crushing, and holy shit balls.
That's some
It's a
strong ass
thing.
thighs. That is some
That is.
strong thigh action.
I was just intrigued. Melinda also has 3 daughters.
He is happy with that because he's pushing it. And unless he's going to pull an Elliot and look for a 25-year-old, he's not probably going to be having any kids of his own. So someone who brings children with them, bonus kids, that's awesome. So he chooses Melinda and they go on their date. And he says to the camera, "I don't think she recognized me. I'm just going to have to let the cat out of the bag because eventually she'll find out." And so he says to her, "Do I remind you of anyone?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, yes. Yes, he does. You know who he reminds you of, and it's Heston Blumenthal. It is Heston Blumenthal with those glasses on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so this is what annoys me, right? So he keeps pushing it. "Do I remind you of anyone?" "No." "Really?" "Yeah." "No." That's good. But his face is like,
I know.
she's clearly not a follower. And then maybe because I have the hat on. Maybe because I have the hat on. "Are you sure I don't remind you of anyone?" "Oh my God, mate. No." Should she? Should she know you? But then I got distracted with the ice cream boat.
Yeah, I know, that's pretty cool.
How awesome was that? A little boat
know.
pulls up onto the beach like an ice cream truck, but a boat.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't
the
hear
best.
any music.
I didn't hear any music, and I did actually wonder, was there music that played
Mm.
to let them know that you were coming? So anyway, he says to her, "Okay, I have to tell you something. A few years ago, I was on Maps," and she's like, "Oh." Obviously not the season that she
Didn't
watched
care.
because she still had no idea who he was. And he says to her, "I was quite quiet on there, sort of below the radar." Now, if he had to let the cat out of the bag because he felt this need to tell her, why then say that? Why not go, "I was on Maths, and if you don't know me and you didn't watch that season, I was a bit of an arsehole. Like, I said some stupid stuff. I did some stupid stuff. I regret like how I acted on that show, but I've done some." Exactly.
Yeah.
If you felt the need to bring it up, then get in front of the shitty things you did and said.
Yeah,
So
that's
then,
right.
so
Own
then
up
she
to
has,
it.
so then she's going to come back and go, "Oh, I see what you were talking about." But then you've owned up to it. So then it's not this fight conversation that ends up happening. So obviously, because they went on a date, they have to move in together. So when she arrives at the house, their body language is so off. So
she came in and she actually mentioned herself on the beach because they actually spoke about weights. She doesn't like when people leave weights on the weight machines because then she can't pick. Look, I'm sorry, if you can't pick 20 kilos
that's what I thought.
Like, you're never going to be able to squash a watermelon between your thighs.
I did think that was a bit odd, but they could be quite big discs, I guess. And if you're not tall enough, I don't know.
I think that was his way of saying, "Look, I used to be a douche.
Yeah.
I'm past it now," but he didn't say that. It didn't come across like that. And she kept harping on it though. And she said, "Look, I'm not trying to be a Karen. Fucking newsflash, love. For a big old Karen, as big as Karens come." Anyway, that was my rant.
Look, she clearly had an opinion of him after watching his stints on Maths. So then that night, Mike decides that he was going to go for a walk and asks her, does she want to go for a walk with him? She says no, she'd rather stay at home. He says he went to her room to say goodnight. So he knocked on the door and opens the door.
Yeah.
There was a man sitting on the bed with her.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering at this stage, there are cameras in there. And then at the couples party, it came out that absolutely no cameras. This was after hours. He said there is no reason for him to have been in your bedroom, or the polite thing to do would have been, if the staff member was checking on her, knock, "Let's go downstairs," or leave the door open. I completely get that. Absolutely. He wasn't home. There was no reason to have that door closed.
Agree. I don't understand the closed door nature of it all.
She said she went off at him, and he said that there were words, but never did he once swear at her or raise his voice. And he asked the crew member to leave, and then he finally left. And apparently that crew member is no longer working in their home with that
They're not
couple.
allowed to, yes. Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what are you going to do? Move the producer to another house, or are you going to lose two people who it's taken like months to organize? I mean, money
Yeah,
wise, yes, it's easier to just move the producer on.
absolutely.
So she's
So,
saying that things escalated quickly and he's completely overreacted to the situation. The producer just came in to see if she was okay, and so she was starting to talk to the producer. He felt like that the producer overstepped the boundary, but I was trying to gather why he was so upset about it. And you don't like the woman. It's very clear. You've literally
yeah.
you've gone on one date and then you've had to move in with each other, and it's the same day. You've literally probably met twice. You didn't like
Hmm.
each other on the second time you've seen each other. So I don't understand why there was this need for such a heated confrontation with someone if he's not even
Mm.
interested in her. I was like, oh, maybe he was worried that that's inappropriate for him to be in the room with her and maybe she felt uncomfortable. But then he said, I wasn't concerned about you. So then what was the issue? And then she turned around to him and said, you're nowhere near as relevant as you think you are. You are a 50-year-old washed up reality TV star.
Yeah.
Ouch. That would have
Bum, bum,
definitely
bum, bum,
bruised that would have
bum.
bruised his ego. But I love it. And she's
Yeah.
like, I would rather shit my hands and clap than get to know him any further.
Oh, I know. I thought that is disgusting,
That
but
is brilliant. So funny.
hilarious.
So funny. But he feels redeemed when he's telling everyone at the catch up, couples catch up.
Oh, but he wasn't going to talk about it.
I know.
Oh, I wasn't going to talk about
Of
it. But
course he
I
was
told,
going to talk about it. But he feels redeemed because Chloe, Nuri, and Bernie are siding with him, saying, "Yeah, no, that's inappropriate."
yeah,
Anyway, so that's his redemption. And then on the first, I guess the first episode, we meet three people, which was Bernie, Mike, and
yeah.
Chloe.
Chloe is a 27-year-old girl from Sydney, and she's a bisexual. And she doesn't want her matches to tell her what their genders are. She wants to have an unbiased opinion and just get to know them through text messages. She was introduced to E, who was 26 from Wollongong. And Chloe kind of painted E as more of a masculine type of personality through texting. And she was also matched with B, 25-year-old from Western Sydney. And she said that she felt this person had a more feminine demeanor. So,
Just for anyone out there, she's not psychic. It was the way she asked the questions that gave her that information. So Chloe is a nurse manager, and she did say that she was bisexual, very 50-50, very down the line, could go either way. It's more
mhm.
about the personality and the connection. And she disclosed that she was engaged to be married to a female at the start of the year that they began filming, and that had ended. So she was still a bit sensitive on that topic, understandably. And it did come out, she did mention that she didn't, like you said, she didn't want to know the genders of her suitors. So we had E and we had B. And
Mhm.
E had disclosed that they, own their own home. And she was really impressed by that. And she said that she's always been the one that's been the to financially support her previous partners. So she was
Mhm.
really interested in that. She did ask, though, her very first question was, what do you do for a living? So E said, I'm a machine operator and crane driver for a steel manufacturing company. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not going to gender stereotype, but that's very male dominated
It is very
role.
masculine.
So
Absolutely.
no wonder she felt the masculine vibe.
Mm.
She said she felt very aligned to E. B is a graphic designer and content creator for fashion brands. Again, gender stereotyping, but very feminine role. She said
Mm.
that she felt connected on a deeper level with B, and Chloe chose Beck. When they met, she was like, "Hi, I'm not a guy."
Chloe described Beck as having a STEM vibe, which I didn't know what it was. It's a
No.
mix between masculine and feminine, which I can see absolutely
Mm-hmm.
by her demeanor. But Beck said that she normally goes for more masculine females. Chloe said that she's never been told by someone so quickly that she's not their type.
Beck says, it's different from what I'm used to. I normally go for quite a masculine person with dark features. She didn't say, you're not my type. She said, it's not normally what I go for.
I think they're really two sweet girls. Chloe is trying really hard. So she, on their first night, made a little picnic on the ground, and Beck really appreciated that and said that she really liked that. So I think Chloe is really trying to win Beck over. Who
Yes.
knows?
Yeah, so obviously Beck then moves into the house, and it felt like Chloe was looking to suggest that they sleep in the same room together. And obviously Beck then had to say, how about we sleep in separate rooms until we get to know each other and see how things progress. I thought that was a very reasonable suggestion, but it did seem like Chloe wanted to pick up the pace a little bit. So I feel like she put the picnic on in with the expectation of getting something in return.
Anticipation of getting a kiss.
Yes, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, I think, look, I don't know what he will look like. I'm assuming it's going to be a male, but I actually think the more couples parties that they go along to, that Chloe might actually like Bernie. I don't know. I did see a little bit of spark with them at the dinner party.
Look, I don't think they'll get together. I think she just is looking for the attention from Bernie that she isn't getting from Beck. I feel like Beck, she felt rejected, so she's just trying to like balance that out with, well, he likes me. I don't really want to go for him. I still want her, but that's making me feel good.
Yeah. She does. She says 50-50, right? But clearly she goes towards the more feminine aspects of things. So I think she needs to readdress her 50-50.
That's what I thought when she asked the question about what do you do for work. And for me, like, what you do for work is not necessarily who you are as a person. Like, what tickles your pickle? What's your hobbies? What would you love to do for the rest of your life if you could do anything? That's probably a more interesting question than what do you do for work? Because some people just go to work because they've fallen into this job and it's the role that they do. They don't love it. They have their passions or something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like that was a real trick question to actually gauge what the gender is. I think she was trying to figure it out because as soon as she got that answer, she knew.
Yeah, that's right. Peyton definitely doesn't have a stereotypical job. So Peyton is a 25-year-old female from Coffs Harbour and she's a concreter. That is not stereotypical. If somebody sent me a text message,
said they're
I'd say man.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you have on her?
I love her. She reminded me of our Paige. I loved her. One of the things that she said was, I've never been a little. I've always been a lot. I love that she was saying the modern dating, you're basing your compatibility with someone on looks. And she's admitting that she's probably, like, she's swiped past people who potentially could have been her soulmate.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% agree with.
I loved how the producers asked her if she thought she was a catch. And she's like, I'm the fisherman's basket with extra salt and lemon, not just a catch, honey.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I loved her vibe. I really loved it. And then I loved it. She said, if I get an eggplant emoji, I'm done. She seems like a lot of fun. So she was matched with Dante, 31 from New South Wales, and Jordan, 29 from Queensland. And she kicked off her questions with, what day of the week would you be? I like that question. I think that's a great question. So Jordan, 29 from Queensland, has a sporting background and would say he's very competitive and has been working with kids for 10 years. Dante, 31 from New South Wales, is a disability support worker who likes photography, makes rap music with his friend, and likes to write. And I thought it was very brave of him at one point to send a voice note so she could put a voice to the name. Very smart.
That won her over. She was vibing with him hardcore until she wasn't.
I think the issue with her was that Jordan was very hit and miss with his messages.
Yeah.
So he didn't come back, like, he wasn't very...
He wasn't a quick responder.
Burning light was something she mentioned about him. Like, he's very slow, that it's taken all day to get a very little from him.
I'm quite literally ready for bed.
No, I love her.
Is what she said. Yeah, look, she ended up choosing Dante and she calls him and then he has a little skit.
I thought it was hilarious.
I did too.
I thought it was hilarious. So she calls Dante and Dante pretends to be his secretary. And then he's just getting out of the shower. Oh, he's very delicious.
I thought it was great. I would have laughed and I would have had him on that date.
That would have sold me, right? I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Not so
One
funny.
thing I've actually noticed from her, though, is she doesn't actually get humor. I think she's quite funny herself, but I don't think she gets humor. I don't think she understands humor.
I don't know what it is. It did surprise me though, because I thought, oh, he's in for sure. And she came off and it was like, no, what was that? And I was like, are you kidding me? That was hilarious.
I know. I found the same pattern though with Jordan.
Yes. Also found him very funny.
Me too. I was laughing and she was getting the weird vibe.
I actually lolled at one point. We'll get to that. But yeah, so that really put her off. And so she chose Jordan. And I was like, ooh, you'll regret that one.
Yeah. Always go with your first choice.
Yeah. She meets Jordan and they go on a date and he brings a book of notes on her. What have you got there? It's my book of notes that I made on you and everything that we've talked about. And she's freaked out. And I'm like, I mean, if you can't remember, take notes. Sure.
Which he clearly said. I laughed. He's like, without my notebook, I wouldn't remember your name. I thought he was so funny.
I think he's funny. Anyway, and they move in together. And I think she's regretting at this point the fact that she's picked him. Yeah. Tough luck, you've gone on a date with him, he's moving in. So he brings a suitcase and she's like, oh, I was going to give you some space. Nope, he's already unpacked the suitcase. And she's like, what the hell is that? And he pulls out a blue mask and puts like a superhero blue mask on his face. And she's like, oh, okay, we're putting it on. He is a big kid, and that was so funny.
A generic man only does Monday tasks. I loved it. He put a lot of thought into that.
He did.
And I loved his cape, and she's like, of course there's a cape. Like, there has to be a cape.
But
he's generic man.
But even her dry humor was really funny with that. Like, it was like a really good skit. I loved it. I was there for it.
But I just don't think she gets his sense of humor.
And she's saying, how do you not know how to cook? You've lived by yourself and you don't know how to cook. So she takes him shopping and they go shopping for some food and he throws lollies into the supermarket trolley. And this is literally how it goes when I take my husband food shopping. Like, it is the majority, like at least 75% of our trolley is filled with shit. Like, it is lollies, it's chips, it's chocolate, it is ice blocks, it is just chock-a-block full of shit. But I loved it. Yeah. And then he was like, who put that? I can't believe you put that in there. I didn't put that in there. Oh, well, better stay in there then. I laughed out loud at that. I thought that was the funniest thing. Better stay in there now. So good.
I know. I really liked him until I didn't.
I feel like he has a very traditional man-wife notion on the home life. Because he did kept saying, he's dinner ready, but he walked in the door and he's like, I'm joking, which was fine the first time. And then he said it again about, well, how often would you cook if we did move into the future? What would it be like? I cook once a week, you cook 5 days a week. Like, I feel like he would be a very lazy partner. Entertaining, so entertaining, probably to the point of annoying if you hear the same jokes over again. Doesn't seem like it would be a very balanced home life. But I can't help but wonder if she might have made more of an effort and tried to get to know him a bit better and seen his funny side if she didn't know there was another option that she's already rejected.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I thought at the back of her mind, she's probably thinking, I've already had a conversation, I've built up a rapport with this guy, and I've chose the other guy. And now his little secretary skit doesn't seem so bad.
That's right. Look, at the couples party, we did see him talk very closely with the Texan, Marissa, and he even admitted off camera. But of course, the producers keep it rolling. Nothing is secret in these shows, guys.
If you are mic'd up, you are always being recorded.
That's right.
Do these people not watch reality TV show? Clearly not.
Clearly not. He said something along the lines of, I'm not attracted to her. She's not what I asked for.
A very Elliot comment from Matt.
Well, no. Let's play a little game. Which Maps character does Jordan remind you of? A, Elliot, or B, Tim?
Oh, Tim. Yes, actually, Tim. I did actually have that thought as well. So
I was getting Tim vibes.
Because when they went to the couples catch-up, even Nuri, who was one of the partners, one of the suitors to a single, had sensed that Jordan and Peyton were giving off friend vibes. And so Jordan then ends up sitting with Chloe and this Nuri guy and says that he and Peyton are in the friend zone and they're just friends. Chloe then pushes and goes, oh, okay, so you've had that conversation that you're both in the friend zone. And he says, yeah. But she wants more. I can feel like she wants more. Like she wants me to hold her hand. And so Chloe's like, well, that's really confusing. Why is she trying to force this intimate, connection with you when you've already been very clear that you're in the friend zone? And he gets up and he walks away, saying like, to end the conversation, says something and walks away. And Nuri and Chloe look at each other and they're like, no, like he's completely just lying. Like he's saying one thing and then doing it. Like he's lying.
Yeah.
And then he walks off and he is caught, obviously, over the mic telling production, she's the opposite of what I wanted. I asked for small, tan, and ethnic. Fuck you, man. You know I'm not attracted to that.
Yeah.
So
Tim. Oh, right then I was like, I don't find you funny anymore. You're an asshole.
Yeah,
Douchebag.
very douchebag vibes.
Yeah. So I really hope for her sake that Dante, her first pick,
yes.
I hope they're into each other.
But look, I find her funny when she was like, Mike looks familiar. And she's like, or does he just look like every other bald man I've ever met? So funny. And then I guess lucky last couple that we had Singleton Ariana. And then she likes to be called Ari. She's 29 from Melbourne, self-described as very large, half Serbian, half Greek, and wants to be a mum. Her first message to the people was so funny. And it said, firstly, you're not a vegan, are you? Question mark. Great.
That's something I would probably say. I'm steak all the way.
Great first question. Are you vegan? Yeah. Because this will definitely not work.
This will not work. Vegans need not apply.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Her options were Nuri, and he is 26 from New Zealand, living in Queensland. He's a project manager and says that he is loyal to his friends and would do anything for family. He's his rival, I guess you would call it, is Sam. Sam is 36 from Victoria, and I believe he owns 2 fashion businesses. So the first message is the vegan comment, and we see a few messages back and forward. She replies back, I love a guy who has his shit sorted. What are you looking for in a partner? And it doesn't look like he answers that question back. Instead, he comes back with, so has the other guy used any shitty one-liners?
Yeah.
Like let's play a prank, or let's play with him a little, tell him you're bored and he needs to do something to interest you. And she's like, well, that's not really fun for me. No. Circling back to us, what do you look for? And he ghosts her.
So the producers, after messaging him the next day, the producers call him and then they say, sorry, you're not his cup of tea. Was this his plan all along to create drama? Was he planted to create drama for the show? And are they going to make him come back anyway? But Nuri, on the other hand, they had flirtatious chats.
Yeah, I mean, she said to him, what are you looking for in a partner? And he replied back, I'm looking for a girl to ruin my life. And I'm like, I mean, you're fucking 26. That's a typical 26-year-old boy answer. Like, it didn't feel committed to me. I was like, he's just here for fun. Again, another person who applied for Fuckboy Island and got the wrong show. Anyway, she chooses Nuri because she's been ghosted by this other guy, so she really has no other option. She goes on a date with Nuri. She asks him straight up about kids. Well, he says they've been on the date for 5 minutes and she's already asking him about kids. And I was like, yeah, mate, she's 29. It moves quicker when you're older.
Yeah.
Feel like unless you're on the same page, then what's the point? And that's a big deal breaker for some people.
I did like the fact that he did say that he does want children, but obviously not right now.
Look, he was very clear. Oh yeah, it's not on the cards for me anytime soon. And then she was like, "Oh yeah, me either, but probably not for another 5 years." Bullshit, because that's all she talked about at the start was how much she wanted to be a mom and have kids. So I'm calling bullshit on that. So Nuri went in to lean in for a kiss, and she said, "No, not on a first date." What do you think? Because Marissa's already said she's up for tongue on a first date. What are your thoughts? Kissing on a first date, look, yes or no?
This is my problem, okay? So don't touch me inches away from my hoochie and rub me up and down, right? Like, I wouldn't let you touch me if I wasn't going to kiss you. This is how girls are finding themselves in a lot of trouble. It only takes the wrong person, one too many drinks, for a situation to go bad. Like, she was asking for it. She said, no, not on the first date. That was her words. Her actions were not saying, no, not on the first date. Her actions were saying, I'm going to take you home and fuck you. That was my opinion. Don't fucking let him touch your leg like that if you're not going to kiss him.
I don't think she owes him a kiss.
What? So he should just finger bang her instead?
Oh my God, he was not.
Well, his hands were so close.
Oh my God, you're so funny. Look, it's a tricky one, right? I think she was just trying to play hard to get. This is why I thought she was drunk, right? Because she was slurring her words when she was saying, don't kiss me. She was letting him rub his hand on her thigh. And if you're playing hard to get, you're not going about it the right way. And she was very flirtatious.
Yes. Look, I kind of vaguely remember what flirting is, maybe. I remember the smiles and the giggles and the looking down and then looking up. That's all fine. From across the table, or at least have half a meter between you. Like, yeah, I don't know. That body language was all wrong.
They were very comfortable. I think she was just like, you're hot, you're young, I can play with you. That is
Yes.
not the man that you're going to have your kids with, though.
Oh, who knows?
No.
Who knows?
No, he's 26.
Yes, people get married young.
Yeah, he's not having kids at 26.
There's 2 types of people that get married, right? Or there's 3 types of people.
No, I'm interested
4.
in this one. Go on.
There's
Tell.
4 types of people.
Oh, okay, 4 now. Right, okay. I was interested in 2.
There's the person that never wants to be in a relationship and run their own race. There's the person that meets someone and gets married young, has children young. There's the person that meets someone a little bit later in life and gets married. And then there's the person that stays in a monogamous relationship but doesn't get married, but still may have kids. So there's 4 types of people. Doesn't matter what gender, what sexual orientation that you may be into. 4 types of people.
You can do your whole little presentation that really confused the fuck out of me. But at the end of the day, she wants kids. She has had her play around the town, and this was just someone else that she was hoping would be on the same page, but it's not. So she's just going to have fun with them while she's there.
I think they're probably so far the cutest couple.
Yes. So whenever Chloe and Beck were they were all talking between the couples, like Beck was off talking with someone and Chloe was off talking with someone, I was thinking they're going to have the best conversation when they get home to debrief on everything that's happened.
Because girls talk.
Girls talk. Girls ask so many questions.
Yes.
And they would just be like, oh my God. So did you talk to him? Yeah. Oh my God. So this is what she was saying and this is what he was saying. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Mm-hmm. So I loved that.
I have no idea what's happening next episode, apart from probably the third of the triangle coming in. But I'm hoping that we do see that conversation. That would be a good conversation.
Yeah. So also Chloe calls out Jordan in front of everyone.
Yes.
About the fact that he's saying they're in a friend relationship, and Peyton had no idea. So I thought that was really good. And I loved how Mike's partner, Melinda, I think her name is, they said to her, oh, how's it going? And she's like giving them, she didn't say anything. She's giving them like the look. And then she goes, we'll talk later. So girl code, right? We're not in an environment where we can talk. We'll talk later. I loved it. And I did see some trailers where Mike and Chloe are not in the best of places. So I feel like Chloe is someone who calls out bullshit.
Yeah.
I love it. She's very Jimmy for me for maths. Not tolerating it. Love it.
Yeah.
So honestly, you thought maths had drama? Holy moly.
I can't wait. I'm still a little bit confused, but
on what?
I'm sure that'll be cleared up just on what's going to happen, because I've never seen the show before. So I don't know what is to unfold.
Same.
It'll be interesting. I still stand by my words. I think it'll end up being a free-for-all.
Look.
So
if you can get through the first 15 minutes of the first episode, you're doing well. If you can't push through, because the drama that is coming your way is insane.
We've condensed it down for you guys, 3 episodes into 1 short episode. Jordan likes Marissa and Bernie gets distracted by Chloe. I wonder what else is going to happen next. We've got 2 math stars. I wonder if there's going to be a 3rd. Follow us on all the social media sites. We're also over on YouTube and Spotify. If you've liked what you've heard, please like and subscribe. I'm Emma.
I'm Moira.
And we're What She Said.
I thought the ending was going to be really fun. You said fucking typical. I paid for it. There's no happy ending. You promised. You led me on.
What she said. Love is love triangle.
Oh my God. Goodbye.